picture this, right? You pour your entire life savings into developing a new product.
Oh yeah, a tale as old as time.
Exactly. I mean, you spend months tweaking prototypes, you validate the concept online, it goes completely viral, and you build this incredible, like, highly engaged digital community around it.
The absolute dream scenario for a founder.
Right. And finally, you make it to the big leagues. Your product is sitting there on a physical retail shelf at a major national chain. You've made it. But then,
Let me guess. Crickets.
complete silence. Nothing happens. The product just sits there. It totally fails to the finish line, and your sales are flat zero. Welcome to today's Deep Dive. We are exploring the honestly agonizing final mile of product sales.
It really is agonizing.
It is. And we're taking our insights today from a brilliant piece by Johann Jacob at Retail Bound titled Retail Packaging Mistakes That Keep Your Product Off Shelves.
You know, it's one of the most devastating scenarios a founder can face, and honestly, it happens every single day.
Wait, really? That often?
Oh, constantly. Because, you can survive the gauntlet of product development, and you can totally master those digital marketing algorithms, but the physical store aisle, that is a completely different beast.
Yeah, I imagine the physical context just changes everything.
Entirely. In that environment, a passing customer scanning the shelves, they give your life's work maybe 2 to 3 seconds of their attention, if that.
2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Just mere seconds to justify years of effort.
That's the harsh reality of retail.
So the core argument we are looking at today is that physical packaging cannot just be a container, right? It isn't just this, protective shell to keep your item from breaking in transit.
Right. In the retail world, your packaging has to operate as your silent salesperson.
I love that analogy, the silent salesperson. Okay, let's unpack this, because the very first conceptual hurdle brands face when they transition from an online storefront to a physical one is overcoming what Johann Jacob calls the e-commerce hangover.
Yeah, and that phrase, it just captures the psychology of it perfectly.
How so? What does an e-commerce hangover actually look like?
Well, when a brand starts out selling direct-to-consumer or DTC, the entire relationship the customer has with the packaging is fundamentally inverted.
Inverted.
Yeah, think about the mechanics of buying something online. The sale is made, the money actually changes your hands long before that cardboard box ever shows up on your front porch.
Oh, true. The heavy lifting is already done by the website at that point.
Exactly. You see a targeted ad on social media, you scroll through, a dozen high-resolution photos, you read 50 customer reviews.
You click add to cart and you pay.
Right. So by the time the box actually arrives, it's really just a victory lap.
That makes total sense. So in the DTC world, the packaging is really just about the unboxing experience.
Precisely. It's an aesthetic bonus. It's meant to delight someone who is already a convinced customer.
Mm-hmm.
But when you put that same product in a fluorescent-lit, crowded physical retail store, the box doesn't arrive after the sale.
It has to make the sale.
The box has to generate the sale. It has to instantly do the job of your website, your targeted ads, and your customer testimonials all at once.
That is a massive amount of pressure to put on a piece of cardboard.
It really is. And if your retail packaging looks like, an amateur threw it together, or if it just visually disappears into the noise of a crowded shelf, retail buyers will just pass on it entirely.
Wait, retail buyers? Like the gatekeepers of the store?
Yeah, the people whose sole job is to curate those shelves. If they see a weak box, they assume the product inside is low quality. End of story.
Okay, I hear that, but I have to push back a little on this idea that the box needs to be this loud, aggressive advertisement.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, if I look at modern design trends, especially in high-end consumer goods, everyone is pivoting toward extreme minimalism. And as a shopper, I actually find that incredibly appealing.
Right, the clean aesthetic.
Yeah. Isn't a sleek, mysterious, matte black or pure white box inherently more premium? It feels like Apple.
So that is a very common instinct, and it's exactly what traps so many emerging brands. They really want to emulate that minimalist aesthetic. They chase the Apple effect.
Because it works for Apple. Right.
But the critical nuance here is that Apple is already Apple.
Right.
When you walk into an electronics store and see a pristine white box with a silver Apple logo on it, you already know exactly what a MacBook is.
Yeah, you know the operating system, the price point, everything.
Exactly. You know the cultural cachet. The box doesn't need to explain anything because the multi-billion-dollar marketing budget already did.
Wow, okay. That is a huge blind spot for a startup.
It is. If you are a startup brand that the average consumer has never heard of, A minimalist, cryptic box is literally the absolute worst strategy you could deploy.
I mean, if we use the silent salesperson metaphor again, taking the ultra-minimalist route is basically hiring a salesperson,
Yeah.
dressing them in a super sleek designer turtleneck, and having them just stand there silently refusing to answer any of the customer's questions.
Exactly. And what would you do in that scenario?
I would just walk away. It'd be way too awkward.
You would. In a retail setting, being cryptic actively creates friction, and friction kills sales. Shoppers in a physical aisle are completely overwhelmed by choice.
They don't have time for riddles.
Right. They should never have to guess what your product is. If a customer picks up a beautifully minimalist box and cannot instantly deduce what the item inside actually does, they are not going to pull out their smartphone, open a browser, and research your brand.
They're just going to put your mysterious box back down and grab the competitor's product sitting right next to it.
Exactly, because the competitor's box actually told them what they needed to know.
Okay, so if I'm a founder who just really loves clean design, what if I compromise?
How so?
What if I leave the front of the box totally clean, but I put this massive, gorgeous QR code right in the center? Let them scan it and watch my beautifully produced 4K promo video. Does that solve the problem?
It doesn't actually, because it violates the 3-second rule.
Ah, the 3-second rule you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Scanning a QR code requires the shopper to pull out a device, open their camera app, wait for the link to pop up, and then stand there watching a video.
Yeah, that's like 30 seconds to a minute. Easy.
And you only have 3 seconds. The cognitive load of a QR code is simply way too high for an initial hook. The front of your package, the main billboard facing the aisle, has to instantly answer 3 golden questions without any digital assistance at all.
Okay, I have to know. What are those 3 golden questions?
Number 1, what is it?
Meaning just the name.
The product name and the clear category it belongs to. So not just Lumina, but Lumina Daily Facial Moisturizer.
Got it. What's number 2?
Number 2, what does it do? This is the core functional benefit.
Like hydrate skin for 24 hours.
Exactly. And number 3, why should I buy it? This is your unique selling proposition. It's the one thing you do better than the 5 other brands sitting on that exact same shelf.
What does it do? Why should I buy it? It sounds like basic common sense, but like when I picture walking down a pharmacy aisle, I see so many brands doing the exact opposite.
Oh, it's everywhere.
They try to cram an entire novel onto the front panel. They give you a paragraph about their origin story,
Right.
a bulleted list of 20 ingredients, and like a map of the sustainable farm where it was sourced.
Which is a catastrophic waste of the most valuable real estate you have.
Really. Because founders love their origin stories.
I know they do, but the front panel needs to be ruthlessly edited. It must be clear, concise, and entirely benefit-driven. Legibility from 3 feet away is completely non-negotiable.
So what happens to all that other stuff?
All of that secondary information you just mentioned, the full ingredient list, the detailed usage instructions, the heartwarming story of how the founders met in their college dorm, all of that is crucial for building brand loyalty.
But just not on the front.
Right. It must be relegated to the back and the sides of the packaging. The front is for the hook, the back is for the details.
The front is for the hook, the back is for the details. Okay, so if we get the graphic design right, and the box perfectly answers those 3 golden questions in under 3 seconds, we've solved the visual and cognitive impression.
Visually, yes, but that's only part 1.
Right, because moving into the next phase of the source material, there is a physical reality to retail that sounds honestly far more intimidating than choosing font.
Oh, absolutely.
It isn't just about how the box communicates, it's about how the physical cardboard survives the actual architecture of the aisle. And this brings us to a concept that essentially dictates the entire retail industry: planograms.
Planograms, yes. They are the invisible framework of retail. If you want to sell in physical stores, this concept dictates your reality.
So for the uninitiated, what exactly is a planogram?
A planogram is essentially a highly structured, mathematically precise visual schematic. It dictates exactly where, how, and on what specific shelf every single product in a store is placed.
I've heard people compare it to playing a high-stakes game of Tetris.
I mean, that's one way to look at it, but honestly, it's much more rigid than Tetris.
It sounds more like strict retail zoning laws.
Zoning laws is a much better way to think about it. The unit economics of a retail shelf are incredibly rigid. Retailers have standardized shelf heights, shelf depths, and pegboard hook spacing.
Every square inch is mapped out.
Every square inch of that shelf is calculated to generate a specific dollar amount of revenue.
Wow, Okay, so what if I bring a retail buyer a beautifully designed box? It answers all three golden questions perfectly. But I decided to make the box shaped like a giant pyramid just to stand out. Or say I made it 14 inches tall when the standard shelf clearance is 12 inches. What actually happens?
The buyer rejects you, full stop.
Just like that. Even if the product is amazing.
It does not matter if your product cures the common cold. If it disrupts their planogram, they won't stock it.
Just because it's a couple of inches too tall, that seems so petty.
It's not petty, it's math. Think about the mechanics from the retailer's perspective.
Yeah.
If your box is 14 inches tall and their shelves are spaced at 12 inches, what is the store manager supposed to do?
I don't know, adjust the shelf.
Right. The only way to fit your product is to physically remove a shelf layer to create more vertical space. And if they remove a shelf layer, they lose the ability to stock 50 other products in that section.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. If you multiply those lost products across 500 store locations, your slightly taller box just costs the retailer tens of thousands of dollars in lost inventory space.
Yeah. That puts it into perspective immediately. It's not about whether they like your design. It's about whether your physical dimensions destroy their revenue model.
Exactly. This is why in retail you hear the term facing constantly.
Ceasing.
Yeah, you want to maximize your front billboard space, the part answering those three questions while keeping the physical depth and overall footprint of the box really tight. You want the retailer to be able to fit 5 of your units on the shelf side by side, not just 2.
That makes a ton of sense. But what about the structural integrity? Because before a product even gets to that pristine shelf, it spends its life on pallets, in hot warehouses, and bouncing around on the back of trucks.
Yeah, stacking is a brutal reality check for a lot of brands.
Because the boxes literally crush each other.
Basically, if your product is meant to be stacked 3 or 4 boxes high on a shelf or an end cap display, the packaging has to be structurally engineered to handle that.
Right.
Can the bottom box support the weight of the others without bowing or crushing? If a buyer is evaluating your prototype and sees that the cardboard is going to crumple under its own weight, they will pass immediately.
Because they can't sell crushed boxes.
Right. They cannot afford to have damaged, unsellable inventory just sitting on the floor taking up space.
So at this stage, creating the box is way less about graphic design and much more about structural engineering and compliance. It's literally fighting for physical survival on the shelf.
It really is a battle.
But here's where it gets really interesting. We have to talk about the dark side of the retail aisle. Because the Johann Jacob piece goes into a major threat that most e-commerce founders never even consider. Security and shrinkage.
Ah, yes. Shrinkage. That is the retail industry's polite, sanitized term for theft.
Right? Just call it what it is.
And it is a massive concern, especially if you are manufacturing a product that is physically small but carries a high price tag.
So like high-end electronic accessories, premium cosmetic serums, or specialty supplements.
Exactly.
Which is tricky, because if I'm designing a premium serum, my instinct is to make the box small, dense, and jewel-like. You know, it just feels luxurious. But a small, high-value box is incredibly easy for someone to just casually slip into a jacket pocket and walk out the door.
And retail buyers know that better than anyone. If your packaging makes your product too easy to steal, the buyer will do one of 2 things, and honestly, both of them are terrible for your brand.
What do?
They will either refuse to stock the item at all, or they will banish it to the locked glass cabinets.
Ugh. The locked glass cabinet. That is the absolute death knell for an impulse buy.
It really is.
I mean, as a shopper, the friction of that experience is miserable.
Yeah.
You find what you want, you realize it's locked behind glass, you have to find the little call button.
If you can even find one.
Right. And then you wait 5 minutes for an employee who has the right key, and then they hover right over your shoulder while you try to read the back of the box.
It's so uncomfortable.
I usually just give up and order it online later.
Which is exactly why locking a product away drastically reduces its sales volume. The friction of the purchase just becomes insurmountable for the average shopper.
So, to avoid the glass cabinet, the burden falls on the brand to build theft-deterrent features directly into the packaging itself.
Precisely. You have to solve the retailer's security problem for them.
How do we actually do that mechanically? Like, I'm just a cardboard box, how do I stop a thief?
Well, there are a few key strategies. First, you have to prevent the most common tactic, which is a shoplifter opening the box right there in the aisle, taking the actual item, and just leaving the empty cardboard box on the shelf.
Oh, I've seen that so many times.
Right. You solve this by incorporating tamper-evident seals or strong wafer seals on the box flaps. It's a minor manufacturing detail, but it heavily signals to the buyer that you understand store security.
But what if the whole box is just too small and pocketable, like a flash drive?
This is where you intentionally use the packaging to inflate the physical footprint of the product.
Wait, make it bigger on purpose?
Yes. This is why you walk into a store and see a tiny memory card or a small bottle of vitamins sold on a blister card.
Oh, like that clear plastic bubble attached to a huge piece of cardboard.
Exactly. You are deliberately making the item wide, awkward, and extremely difficult to conceal in a pocket or a purse.
You are literally engineering awkwardness. That is fascinating.
You are. And finally, you have to account for electronic article surveillance, or EAS tags.
The EAS tags, those are the white barcode-looking security stickers that set off the alarm at the door, right?
Yeah, the ones that beep if you walk out without paying. Retailers are going to apply those tags to your product.
Okay, so they handle that part.
They do, but if you do not design a dedicated blank space on your packaging specifically for that tag, a store employee in a rush is going to slap that security sticker right over your beautiful logo or right over the text explaining what your product does.
Oh, man. It's like commissioning a masterpiece painting, but knowing the gallery is going to slap a giant security barcode right in the middle of the canvas.
Exactly.
You have to literally design a blank spot into your artwork just for the alarm tag.
Precisely, because if you don't plan for it, the retailer will ruin your design for you.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the overall narrative here, and I see a massive contradiction on a mechanical level.
Uh-oh. Lay it on me.
Okay, so we just established that to prevent theft, we need to artificially inflate the size of a small product.
Yeah.
Right? Making it wider and bulkier so it can't fit in a pocket.
Yes, that's correct.
But the final massive hurdle the source material brings up is corporate sustainability mandates, which demand that brands use less material.
Ah, yes.
So if a massive retail buyer is demanding I use less packaging to save the planet, but I need to make the packaging bigger to stop shoplifters, how is a brand supposed to navigate that collision course?
Okay, so if we connect this to the bigger picture, that is the million-dollar question in modern packaging design. And reconciling that contradiction really comes down to understanding the difference between footprint and void space.
Footprint and void space. Okay, walk me through that.
When retailers talk about sustainability mandates, they are primarily targeting void space, meaning shipping empty air.
Oh, okay, so it's about the 3D volume.
Exactly. Let's use the blister card example. A blister card creates a large, unpocketable 2D footprint, which deters theft perfectly.
Right, because it's wide and tall.
But because it is incredibly thin and flat, it has almost no 3D void space. You can pack thousands of them tightly onto a single shipping pallet.
So it's still highly efficient to ship.
Right. Conversely, what retailers hate, and honestly, what consumers hate, is when you order a tiny USB drive and it arrives in a rigid cubic box the size of a microwave filled with plastic bubble wrap.
Ah, I see. Because shipping empty air across the ocean is incredibly expensive and carbon intensive.
Exactly. If 40% of your box is just empty air, you are literally paying freight costs to ship air from a factory to a warehouse. Right-sizing your packaging to eliminate that void space drastically cuts your shipping and logistics costs, while simultaneously aligning with the retailer's corporate sustainability mandates.
Because these massive big box chains, they have very public corporate social responsibility goals, right?
Yeah.
Like they've promised their shareholders they will reduce their carbon footprint by 2030 or eliminate single-use plastics entirely.
Yep. And the most efficient way for a massive retailer to meet those internal goals is to basically force the brands they carry to do the work for them.
Wow, that's clever. Pass the buck down the supply chain.
Exactly. They actively prioritize buying from brands that help them hit those corporate mandates. If your packaging is swimming in thick, single-use clamshell plastic, you are a liability to their sustainability report.
So how does a brand adapt its materials to meet those mandates while still surviving the planogram and the shoplifters?
Well, beyond just eliminating the void space, you transition to post-consumer recycled paperboard or biodegradable inks or molded pulp instead of styrofoam.
Nice.
And crucially, tying this all the way back to our silent salesperson concept, you have to clearly advertise these material choices on the box itself.
Oh, you have to make sure you get credit for the work.
You absolutely do. If your box is made of 100% recycled materials, you print that proudly right on the outside.
Yeah.
If you have engineered a plastic-free design, you put a clear plastic-free badge right on the front panel.
I see. That strategy hits two targets with one arrow then. It proves to the corporate retail buyer that you align with their mandates, and it directly appeals to the values-driven shopper in the aisle who is actively trying to make a more responsible purchase.
It's a brilliant synergy when it's done right. You make the massive retailer look good on their quarterly reports, and you make the individual customer feel good about handing over their credit card.
So what does this all mean? We have journeyed from the conceptual hurdles of leaving the digital world through the strict zoning laws of the planogram, past the gauntlet of shoplifters, and straight into the boardrooms of corporate sustainability.
It's quite the journey.
It really is. And it becomes incredibly clear that securing a spot on a retail shelf is a monumental achievement. But staying there, achieving the sell-through rates necessary to keep your business alive, requires mastering a very complex matrix of physical and psychological requirements.
It is a delicate balancing act, for sure. You have to deliver professional graphic design that commands attention in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You must communicate clearly, answering those 3 golden questions instantly. You need to structurally optimize for the shelf so the buyer doesn't lose inventory space.
Yeah, don't mess up their Tetris game.
Exactly. You have to integrate security features to prevent shrinkage without causing purchase friction. And finally, you have to commit to sustainable materials that appease both the corporate buyer and the modern consumer.
It really is this crazy blend of art, psychology, and structural engineering.
It is. And Johann Jacob leaves us with a very direct, sobering call to action in the retail-bound piece.
What does he say?
He writes, "Don't let poor packaging be the bottleneck in your growth strategy."
That's powerful.
It's basically an invitation to mentally audit your own product or the products of the company you work for. You have to look at it objectively and ask, is this truly retail ready?
Because if it isn't, you're in trouble.
Because if it fails on even one of these 5 fronts, you are going to spend a fortune pushing against the mechanics of the retail industry. If your silent salesperson is failing you, it is time to swallow your pride and head back to the drawing board.
That fundamentally changes how you view the architecture of a store.
Yeah.
Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you, our listener, with today.
Let's hear it.
The next time you are out running errands, maybe grabbing groceries or browsing a pharmacy aisle, I want you to take a moment and think about the last product you bought from a brand you had never even heard of before.
Oh, that's a great exercise.
Right. What was it about that physical cardboard box that made your hand reach out and grab it off the shelf? Was it a calculated design choice? A highly engineered silent salesperson answering exactly what it is, what it does, and why you needed it that you didn't even realize was working on you?
Once you understand the invisible mechanics of retail packaging, you will honestly never look at a store aisle the same way again.
You really can't unsee it. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the Johann Jacob article. We hope you've gained some valuable, actionable insights to ensure your products and your ideas survive and thrive on the shelf. Until next time.